Hello and welcome to the movie podcast review of The Bad Guys. My name is Shahbaz, and of course, I'm joined by my two other bad guys, Daniel and Anthony. How are you guys doing today?
I'm the bad guy.
Okay.
I'm not really a bad guy, but I'm a bad guy.
You guys are just referencing a bunch of pop culture right now. You guys are bad hosts at the moment.
We are. How are you doing though, Shay?
Doing great, you know. We've had a quieter week this week in terms of movies, aka none. So I know we've just been kind of catching up on TV, and we have a TV review spectacular coming out pretty soon.
We do a lot of movies coming out this week, but movies we've already seen. So we've already done the work for them.
Done our homework already.
We've done the homework for it. So now it's up to you, listener, to catch up.
That's true. Now, if you guys were to be bad guy animals like in this movie, what would you be? Daniel, I'll start off with you.
I'm pretty sure all cats are evil. Okay. So I'm just going to say any type of cat I will go with. Okay. I'm going to get the cat community after me now. Yes, and PETA. And PETA is going to come for us too.
Anthony, what about yourself?
I would be a wolf. Wolf it's my cup of tea, you know? Like, I'm a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Lone wolf with two other hosts. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm always trailing behind you. I'm always watching your backs.
To one day eventually eat us from behind.
to eat us, yes.
Yes, to eat you from.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
From behind.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's an interesting way of putting it. Anthony's known from eating from behind. Always,
this is a kid-friendly review.
It is.
Children listen to this episode. This is the only episode children can listen to.
Shay, what about yourself? What animal would you be?
I think people that know me best would always say that I'd be the snake, not because I am a snake-like person, but because I have such a I guess maybe, but I have such a fear of snakes that sometimes you just got to be what you fear. Like I'm like Batman.
You have to become a snake, and just like Batman, Batman becomes a bat.
Yeah, he becomes a real bat.
He becomes a real bat, yes.
All right. Well, as always, you can catch a brand new episode of The Movie Podcast every single Monday, and watch out throughout the week for our review episodes on all the latest movies and series. And make sure to follow us at The Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd. Don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We just got some great reviews in on Apple Podcasts recently. So thank you to all those people. 5 stars gets you a prize, I'd say. Anthony
more
smile.
Episodes of our show.
Yeah, Anthony's smile, Daniel's smile, and Shabaz's smile.
Oh God, people just giving us 1 stars now. like, we don't want to see it.
Smiles.
We don't want it.
And also, you can give us 5 stars on Spotify. We've been. I don't think you can leave reviews like with words, but you can definitely leave 5 stars though.
You can. You could leave us a review, only 5 stars, and then you could leave it. You could give us that positive reinforcement just by, downloading our episodes.
It's true. That's true. And you can tell us how much you love our episodes by joining our Discord or writing into hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca. It's an email. Anything you have to say?
And you can go to YouTube where you can like and comment, and I'll look at it and
subscribe.
And subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Anthony, that's probably the most important one.
I won't ignore it. I do like things. Things I don't like are spam
messages.
Spam messages, like the Harry Potter one.
Yeah, Anthony's our resident
I thought was real, but I'm so
YouTuber. Anthony, you're like our YouTube wizard right now. You've been trying to crack the YouTube case.
Dude, I'm going back to 2010.
Oh, not that far. Okay.
Well,
how do you go back a little bit further? That's actually pretty far. You're right. I don't know why, but 2010, when I hear it, I'm like, yeah, that's not too far away. We're in 2022.
We are. That's 12 plus years now.
Jeez. True. That is nuts. Well, the movie we're talking about today is Pierre Perifel's The Bad Guys, which is based on the children's book series of the same name. The film is produced by DreamWorks Animation, and it stars Sam Rockwell, Marc Maron, Anthony Ramos, Craig Robinson, and Awkwafina. Also Zazie Beetz as well. She was also a great character in this movie too. The Bad Guys releases exclusively in theaters April 22nd, 2022. And thank you to Universal Pictures for inviting us to come watch this movie. Anthony, what is The Bad Guys all about?
After a lifetime of legendary heists, notorious criminals Mr. Wolf, Mr. Snake, Mr. Piranha, Mr. Shark, and Miss Tarantula are finally caught. To avoid a prison sentence, the animal outlaws must pull off their most challenging con yet, becoming model citizens. Under the tutelage of their mentor, Professor Marmalade, the dubious gang sets out to fool the world, and they're turning good. They're turning good, sorry.
Thank you so much. And Daniel, what are your first reactions for the bad guys?
It's been a while since I've done a first reactions, but I'm happy to be doing it because this movie was a lot of fun. And I think what was most surprising about this film is that it really, I think, took inspirations from so many other heist films and gave us a kids film that was like a little bit of Ocean's 11, a little bit of Zootopia, a little bit of just Pulp Fiction as Reservoir Dogs, and you kind of threw everything into the pot here, but you give us it's a really fun movie. And I think what's really cool too about this film is that it's not afraid to experiment with different character styles, which I really liked. I think with DreamWorks for a long time we were so used to a certain look for their films. When you look at Pixar films, we were so used to a very distinct look for their films. And this embraces a little bit something differently. There's a little bit of stop motion-esque to the movements in this film. There's a little bit of just cell shading going on with the actual animation style itself, which I thought was really cool. Where I think this movie falters a little bit, and again, it's a kids movie. I'm not going to judge it super harshly. What's really interesting about this movie is that it's a world where animals and humans, I guess, are just coexisting. So when I was watching and we were watching, and like, oh, it's interesting that we have these bad guys who are pulling these crimes in a human world, but there's not really any other animals in this world to react to it, because the other animals that we see, one is like the governor, and then the other one is Mr. Marmalade. Is that his name?
Yeah.
The guinea pig, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the kind of the only other two animal characters that talk in this film, and then we'll have just random other animals that these characters interact with that are just like pets and just normal humans. So it's a weird dynamic seeing humans and animals just kind of coexisting within that world, where something like Zootopia, it's like the whole city is animals, and maybe they chose to go that route because they didn't want to be compared too much to Zootopia. But it's a very interesting dynamic. But I had a lot of fun with this movie, and I think there's some really good laughs here. And I think Sam Rockwell, especially, he's playing such a smooth character. They even make that joke in this film, he's going to go full Clooney on this one. They're not afraid to embrace their inspirations, obviously, and they have a lot of fun with it. So I had a really good time with this film.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Anthony, what about yourself? What did you think? What are your first reactions, for the bad guys?
Going into it, I didn't even know it was an animated story. So learning about it before going into it, I'm like, oh, cool. This is dope. This is a heist for kids, which is unique because you don't see a lot of that stuff. And I really enjoyed this film. The animation was great. The actors did their part. Everyone was great. There are a lot of homages, like Daniel said, to heist films. So even the names Mr. Piranha and Miss Tarantula, these are Reservoir Dogs. So it's playing reference.
Yeah, exactly.
It's playing reference to Point Break. It's playing reference to Ocean's 11. There's a lot of things adults will get it. So if you're going with your kids, you'll kind of get that part. Even the opening sequence, which is very Pulp Fiction-y, just talking about no nonsense stuff, just getting a story across without actually diving into this heist that they're going to get into. So I found that really interesting. I found the art style was unique because the trailer doesn't do it justice, but once you start watching the movie, you see the different type of animation that comes out of it, and I really enjoyed it. The only thing that I found maybe was my biggest issue, and it's not even an issue again because this is really designed for kids films, is just the plot was really too simple for such a high caliber team of thieves to just want to be good. I thought, I get it, it's for kids. There's a moral to the story. There's a moral to the message that they're sending across. So I like it. I'm selfish, so I was just thinking, man, it would be cool to get this crew of guys to actually rob a bank or make it really stylistic and fun. And it just says a lot about how animation can be used in so many different ways, in so many different mediums, and how it's not just for kids. I think who was it? Chris Miller said that the other day. tweeted about like how animation is a form of filmmaking that should be used in all sorts of ways. And we saw it with Flea. But this is a great movie for kids, great movie for adults to bring their kids. I don't know if you're an adult to go watch it on your own, maybe something you would wait for, but it's a great kids film.
Yeah, I think it was Phil Lord and Chris Miller who they had an op-ed, I believe, in Variety, where after the way the Oscars handled the animation category this year, and how they kind of again always infer that because it's something's animated, it must be made for children. They said like, no, like animation is a medium. It's not a genre. It's another way of telling your story. It is not just because it's animation does not mean it's in the box for kids. It's not that at all.
And you see, that's kind of where I'm at this movie. I mean, I also really enjoyed this movie. I had a great time with it. But Anthony, the point that you bring up about the plot of this film being very basic, it's true. And I think that's kind of what bothered me about it, is that as writers, you should take the liberty of challenging the children as well, giving them something to think about, giving them more depth. A lot of movies do this. Even the How to Train Your Dragon films, which is also DreamWorks, they have complex stories about family and, where you grow up. And then you look at Pixar, who consistently always has very deep stories. This movie, it's very straightforward. Like, it couldn't be any more just baseline first draft of a script. And that's fine, but it would have been nice if they kind of threw something more in there that could have still entertained kids, but also kept the parents really engaged. The animation is fantastic. The voice acting is so good, and I love everybody that's in it. But you kind of wish they did more with these characters to make you feel attached to them, because as good as this movie is, it's not one that kind of stays on your mind after, and you want it to stay on your mind after, because people put a lot of hard work in this movie, and you want to consistently think about it. You want to hope for a sequel. If they come out with a sequel for this movie, sure, I'll definitely go see it, but I'll probably have forgotten by the time that a sequel is going to come out, because the movie doesn't stay on your mind. It is an enjoyable watch. It'll keep the kids quiet for the 90 minutes or so that you're kind of watching it, but maybe as an adult, you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, good moments. But overall, once you kind of leave the theater, that's kind of it about it. Which is why I was hoping for just a bit more to the writing. That would have been nice, because again, they take a lot of liberties, and I guess maybe looking at Zootopia, which had such a good story. Granted, it gets really dark at a certain point. That lingers. That's something that you think about for a long time.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. It is a simple story. I also do think that to the merit of this movie, because there are a lot of different, I guess different plans going on with it being a heist film, and there's always those twists and turns. I think they wanted to try and make it as accessible as possible for that reason. Whether that worked or not, I mean, that's going to be up to you. But yeah, definitely agree with you guys. It is a very simple story to get you into it, but I think the characters are enjoyable enough. They're funny, caricatures or archetypes that we've seen in so many other films that you will forgive it for being a simpler film.
Mm-hmm. It's not a huge negative.
After watching it, and just again, the audience for this film are kids who don't know nothing about heist films. So this is a great introductory to the heist world. The double crosses, the looks, the style, the feel. So maybe this will kind of like start them off with the bad guys, and then you could go to Point Break, and then you
could go to Pulp Fiction right after this.
Fiction.
Yeah.
Kids love it.
11.
You go to Pulp Fiction right after this one.
It's a nice, it's nice to have this type of story for them, because at the end of it, a lot of kids were happy with what they watch. So this will just open them up into different worlds of film. And I know I'm going outside the box, but I'm just thinking, you just have to get them with one film, and then they start to watch all the other ones that reflect it.
It's true. No, it's funny, I always think of I always think of that like viral video of like a kid watching Star Wars for the first time, or he's watching Empire Strikes Back for the first time, and it's like when he sees the scene with like Luke and Vader's like, no, Luke, I'm your father, and he's like, oh, Toy Story 2. It's just funny that like for so many references that we see in films of shows that we watch growing up, and even now, like I watch shows from when I was a kid all the time now, especially Recess it's one I've just been watching recently. I'm like, man, there's a lot of references to movies and shows of that time that as you're a kid it goes over your head, but it's not until you go back to it, or it's the adults that kind of pick up those, the breadcrumbs that they're dropping there,
Yeah, these are the movies that, again, when we were children, we grew up watching and said, we want to do this one day. We want to be involved with movies. They like that inspiration, that spark in us to kind of continue to watch movies that are based around this. Anthony and Daniel, you're absolutely right. This is the movie that might inspire the kids to, when they're old enough, watch Ocean's 11, watch all those movies that definitely as a child right now, they shouldn't be watching.
Right.
But, it'll inspire and give them that kind of that motivation to watch those kind of movies and also do well in school and not do drugs. But that's
interesting. Here's another thing. Yeah. They can become furries and start robbing banks. That's the other.
That is the one side of the coin that people
that is neglect. The pathway I think that people go
always
down,
neglect that path, and that's what happened to Anthony. Yeah. That's why you can't see him right now on video, because he is dressed as a furry.
Oh my goodness!
Wish you weren't, Anthony. But let's jump into our recommendations. We'll start off with Daniel.
I think The Bad Guys, it's fun, it's stylish. I think it's a very clever film that it's, like I said at the top, it's Ocean 11 meets Zootopia. I think you're going to have a really fun time with the performances in this film. And I think there's going to be a lot for the parents to enjoy in this as well, too. I would say if you're looking for a fun kids movie to watch this weekend, take your kids to it, or, go wait for it on a Tuesday. But I don't think you'll go wrong with this one. I think you'll enjoy it.
Anthony, what about yourself?
Yeah, I totally agree with Daniel's statement. I would definitely watch it if I had kids. I would definitely watch it.
You watched it.
Also, you're making it sound like my statement was like such an official statement. I agree. I do concur with the statement that my co-host Daniel Baptista did read before.
The PR team has passed on Daniel's statement.
With Sonic out and now The Bad Guys, this is a good year for kids to get back into the theater and enjoy, the big screen. But yeah, it's a fun movie. Definitely fun. It's going to be fun for at least another 2 weeks, and then Doctor Strange comes out. So before you bring him to Doctor Strange, go have a fun film with The Bad Guys. I enjoyed them.
Awesome. Yeah, same as you guys. I'd say watch it as well. It's a really fun movie. It's a great time. You had Sonic just come out recently. You can ignore Crimes of Grindelwald, or what's it called? Secrets of Dumbledore. Secrets of Dumbledore.
I always make the mistakes too.
Secrets of Dumbledore. You can skip that one, watch this instead, and you can go watch Multiverse of Madness in a few weeks as well. So
very
kids
close.
And the people have a lot of good movies. Kids and people, they're different. They're different in my book.
I was going to say, what is this description? Kids and people.
I'm like Anthony. I'm like, kids are just something else, and people are something else. No, but there's a lot to watch, and I think The Nice Guys is a great movie to go see. You'll have a lot of fun.
Do you mean The Bad Guys? The Nice Guys too. The Nice Guys too. The Nice Guys is a great movie too to watch.
Referencing The Nice Guys while watching The Bad Guys. We did. Because it had this similar suaveness. Man, yes. This is I've been fasting all day. You guys have to let me go.
It's not your fault, Shay.
Okay.
It's not your fault.
We'll forgive you.
Is this the ending of Good Will Hunting?
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
No. Also a great movie to watch, kids, when you're eventually a little bit older.
Yeah. Or you could watch an episode of Recess that parodies it too.
That's also true. Also,
see, it comes all full circle.
But speaking of full circles and announcements, Daniel, you want to give us some announcements?
One of us, yeah. I was going to say, if you are wondering, hey, I really like the show, The Movie Podcast. I would love to support them somehow. Well, guess what? There's a lovely way that you could do that right now, where you could buy the official merch of The Movie Podcast. It's out now. You can check our show notes below for the links to get there. We're working with our good friends at Bonfire. They make some great quality merch. We love it. We're all wearing it right now. So if you could see us, you would see that we're all wearing the official Movie Podcast t-shirt right now. It's amazing. There's lots of different colors to choose from. Long sleeve, short sleeve, whatever you want. We got it on the site. Well, that's really it. Long sleeve or short sleeve.
Yeah, no other sleeve sizes.
That's it. But there are different colors you could choose from. And it would mean a lot to us if you like what we're doing here at the show. And if you want to help us keep the lights and the mics on, that's the best way to do it. Also, I just want to give a quick shout out to all of the amazing reviews that we have out on the show right now, on our feed right now. We just dropped our review for The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. We have the review for The Northman. We have our review for The Secrets of Dumbledore. If you were curious we have our review out. You can listen to our thoughts on it, as well as an interview with actor Ke Huy Quan of Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I definitely implore you to go check that all out. And there's a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast out right now too, where you could hear us talk all about the Warner Brothers Discovery overhaul they're planning with DC on the Prime Video event that they had for Canada. There's lots to listen to on the Movie Podcast feed. We're so thankful that you're here to listen to it, but go check it out. There's lots, and then we have lots more coming, of course, because like Shay said, Multiverse of Madness is right around the corner. We'll be watching it very soon, and you'll be able to look forward to our review of it very, very soon, and maybe some more. Who knows?
Maybe some more surprises. Well, thank you guys for joining me and reviewing The Bad Guys today. We are good guys, and we loved The Bad Guys. Is that a fair way to say it?
I feel like you had a gun to your head when you said that. Why did you say it so strangely? I also concur with Daniel's statement about
there's a wolf behind me right now who's just
oh my goodness.
But I'm a bad guy. I don't want to be a good guy.
Yeah, you'll never be a good guy, Anthony. I'm sorry.
But you just said
you don't have the cheekbones for it. You have a bad guy cheekbones.
I lied. He couldn't tell. I was under duress.
I'm glad I'm a bad guy.
As always, you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday, and throughout the week we drop these lovely review episodes on all the latest movies and series. Make sure to follow us at the Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd. Don't forget to leave us a review like Daniel mentioned on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're going to leave us a review, please make it 5 stars, and please leave a lovely comment. We love reading about those lovely words you all have written and taking the time to conjoin together to make a sentence. That's a weird way of phrasing that, but it's how I feel. And if you want to continue to talk to us, the best way to do it is on Discord, and also emailing. Emailing is great. Who hasn't had an email since they were a child? Kids, you have emails nowadays. Email us and let us know what you thought of The Bad Guys and if you loved it or not. And don't forget to check us out on YouTube as well. Again, that was This Time with the Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.